Quick here with our live edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. We're getting everyone in the studio and getting them set. We'll be starting in just 2 minutes.
Elaine is here.
Yeah, you want to bring her in? Okay, it would be great if you wouldn't. There you go. Your light is in front of you. Can you get your light in front of you?
Okay.
Who? Me?
We're not going to be able to hear her through this for a little bit
Okay.
because that would require too many wires crossing.
So what do you want me to do?
Wait to bring her in.
Okay.
She can hear us, but we can't hear her
Okay, so she can hear us, but we can't. Should I have her call in?
for a moment. We will be able to hear her once we go live,
Okay.
but for the moment, no.
Okay.
Okay, I'm muting both of our guests for right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm also muting you. No, I'm not.
Oh. They're too dark.
Ron. You're on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am so glad to have you guys here today. Certainly, we have a great show in store for you guys. Those of you who watch us in social media, y'all help Miss Richardson out there. She's going to get it together. We'll have a great conversation. What you guys would like, tag and share this with your friends, family. We're going to talk about really how does mental health impact dating and relationships, marriage, those things. I have two wonderful authors with me on today, two wonderful women in their own right that are going to be a part of this conversation. But before we get into that, we're going to start off the way that we always talk. I always share with you what's on my mind. I'm going to be quick about that today because I want to make sure that we have ample time for that conversation. But wherever you are in the city of Saginaw or surrounding areas, I want to say good evening to you today. Today has been quite the day. We've been having some amazing temperatures. Then it got a little cool, and today somebody turned the thermostat off, but they turned the humidity up. What's going on, John B? John B is sitting in for the Rob Father today. John, give a shout out to the audience.
Hello. Good to be here.
All right, so we are going to get to what's on my mind. I want to start off with Heart of the City Awards. It is going down this week. Wait a minute. Before we get to the Heart of the City Awards, I want to give a shout out to all of those students who are a part of the Dow Treasure Academy that I've been able to, and pleased and pleasured to work with over the course of this year. We have completed our first year of STEM and leadership education and training that has gone from just learning how to stand in front of people and to introduce yourself, how to speak appropriately, how to show up. And then also the technical side of things, creating websites, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, learning how to do app development and creation. They were introduced to the Bloomberg platform to learn how to do stocks and trading and all of those things. And they rounded out their year with their end of the year presentations were absolutely phenomenal. They did them on social issues, covering and ranging from pollution to the importance of Black lives and that Black lives have value. So salute to those amazing students and to those mentors who are out there from Dow who have given countless hours of their time and their service. And to my partner in purpose for this particular venture, Sandra S. Ware of Vail Concierge. You make it happen. There is also something that is coming up real soon. So if you have young men that are 9th through 12th grade, we have Microsoft Man Code. This is a call to individuals who are interested or may have, don't even have an interest, don't know that they're interested in technology, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. There is an amazing program that's going down. It will be on June the 17th. Early in the morning from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We got a couple buses going down. If you have young men that are 9th through 12th grade that are in the city of Saginaw and you want them to have this opportunity, we got so many special surprises for these young people. Please have them get a hold of me. That's Kareem Bowen. Shoot me a message or hit me up on Messenger or my direct line, 989-714-6957. Everybody on the planet got that number, so don't be scared. Like, he's giving out his real number. Everybody literally on the planet has that number. So let them know that, hey, you got something for them. We're excited because it's going to be amazing. So we want our young people to be leaning into those areas of tech where those jobs are plenteous and those dollars are real. All right. Also coming up, the Heart of the City Awards that will take place this coming Thursday. It is a black tie affair. Y'all got to get into this thing. Black tie, June 9th, begins at doors open at 5 p.m. The program begins at 6 p.m. There will be 2 live bands. Monique Ella Rose will be in the house. Y'all know she always puts on a good show. Awards, scholarship awards, so much more going on. This gives you an opportunity to get dressed up. As the old folks, you say, get gussied up for an event. You've been locked down for 2 years. Let's get dressed up, go out and enjoy this. This is what we would consider a party with a purpose. The Heart of the City Awards, and yours truly has been nominated for the Visionary Awards for this Community Awards program. So thank you all for that nomination. Also coming up, so much is happening that is coming and happening so fast. Saginaw Juneteenth celebration, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Is taking place. We need people to contact us so that you can get involved with this freedom parade that we're doing. We have the Miss Juneteenth pageant. So Miss Juneteenth will be awarded or crowned on that Friday evening. On that Saturday, June 18th, beginning at 10 a.m., we will have a freedom parade. You don't have to have cars. You can just come out. It's not a super duper long walk, trust me, because we weren't trying to do that. But it is it makes a statement that this is the first time that it's been celebrated as a national holiday. And we want you to come out, bright colors, praise dance teams, young girls, kids, signs, whatever you want. Just come out and you do your stroll down the promenade, celebrating the freedom of Blacks in America. So let's get out here. Let's make that happen. And then on that Sunday, there's a Father's Day celebration. We are celebrating Black fathers on the 19th, which is actually Juneteenth, June the 19th. So the entire community is coming out. There's a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. There'll be a number of proclamations and things that are going to be happening in that time. Got to get out, get involved, hear what's happening. Let's get it on the move. This is our celebration of freedom. And so we all have a part to play. Let's not be so slow and lazy. Let's make this happen. Let's start it off this year. We get it going, and then we'll kick into next to another girl next year. So I want to thank everyone who continually listens to this show. We are going to get right into our show on today. We have Miss Elaine Cook. She's in our studio. Miss Elaine, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone.
All right. She is there. Great to have you this evening. I called her Elaine Cook. She's actually Elaine Richardson Cook. Those of you who know her know that this is Jay Rich's mom, Jay Rich of the NBA. They're the Warriors. He was a part of the Dubs team when they were first making things happen. Welcome to Straight Talk. Again, I think you've been here before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I have.
All right. So we're going to get her in. And then we also have on phone, she's going to be coming in via phone, our wonderful guest, Joyce A. Graham. Mother Graham, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good to be back.
All right. It is great to have you. She was with us just a short couple of weeks ago. And I said, hey, these two ladies began to have a conversation. And as we were talking, I said, light bulb came on. I said, wow, this is amazing. Miss Graham has written a book, and I'll preface her, and then I'll also do the same thing with Miss Cook. She has written a book called Mental Health Issues in the 21st Century Church. And I want you all to know this is an easy read. I took the time to get on and to read this book. Sat down, Miss Graham. I read it all in one setting. Well worded, well put together. And you have yourself asking questions like, okay, which of these personalities in here are me? Which one is me? Which one do I suffer from? I need some help. And it makes you do an introspective look at yourself to really determine, are you mentally healthy? And then also we have another book that we're going to bring. We have Miss Elaine Richardson Cook, who is, as I said, the mother of retired NBA two-time slam dunk champion, back-to-back Jason Richardson. And she has written a book, and we've talked about this sometime. It is Before the Sunrise, an amazing book. It is a book of her story. If y'all have ever seen on Netflix, I'm slow to the party, but I finally saw Dirty John on Netflix. And when she wrote this book, she gave it a subtitle in the family as Dirty Willie, which is an amazing story. And so we're going to share the story. But what we want to talk about today is because oftentimes in this world or this thing called life, there are people, we meet people. The desire is to find people that we love and we can connect with and go through and live a life with. And so we're going to talk about how mental health issues, some that go undiagnosed, some that are hidden from us, will impact the dating process and also can have a major impact on your marriages, and ultimately it impacts your life. That is the key thing. So I'm going to start off with you, Ms. Cook. I want to share a little bit. I want you to share us a little bit. What was the reason or the purpose behind you writing this book, Before the Sunrise? You had an amazing time raising your 6+ bonus sons, doing a great job as a mom. You've gone to school, the first to graduate, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first to graduate in our family with your degree in social work. Why write this book, Before the Sunrise, and what does this title mean to you?
Well, I wrote the book because I wanted to show how you can fall in love, really be in love with a person from the church, thinking this person is, really, I want to just get my story out there. Anybody can be fooled. I had been a widow for over, I believe, 9 years at the time. And I wasn't interested in dating or anything. And I wanted to get my story out there. And how Before the Sunrise came was because before the sunrise was when I would notice how my mother would always get up and take care of my dad. She took care of my dad for almost 30 years. And then Before the Sunrise is when my ex-husband now would always act out, was before the sunrise. He was a perfect gentleman during the day, perfect gentleman out in public. But then before the sunrise, all hell would break loose.
So this is a story, not just a story to feel good. This is not a story of
real life.
This is real life story. Ladies, I'm going to tell you, if you have ever read a book. Now, what's interesting about this, and I'll tell you, is that oftentimes you don't know individuals and then come to find out later that there are issues that they're suffering from. Tell us a little bit, because this was someone that you had an acquaintance with for some time, correct?
Correct. Actually, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, and I never knew anything about him having mental illness or anything like that. And, he came to the church. I wasn't interested in him at all and showed no interest. I was about worshiping my God, but come to find out, he did research on me, what I liked, what I didn't like. You had to be, really praising God and showing that you were really involved in the church. And when he finally caught my attention, it took quite some time, but when he finally caught my attention, wow, that's what happened. I was duped.
You said at that point, it was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we have with us now, I don't know what all these letters mean, Miss Graham. At the end of your name, you got an M and the ED and LPC. Let us know what this means.
Okay, the MED means that I have a master's in education. The LPC stands for Licensed Professional Counselor.
Okay, so as you hear Ms. Cook begin to share some of the details of her story, and we'll get a little bit more into that so that you can help us out. Your book, Mental Health Issues in the 21st Century Church, When I read this, I said, wow, this is something that we need oftentimes, not only in church, but in the community. But you targeting the church for this specific one, what was so important for you to address the issues of mental health in the 21st century church? Because Miss Elaine here is talking about how she met this guy. She wasn't interested, but he came in, he was praising the Lord. He became a deacon in the church. He was working in the church, serving the Lord. You know, there was a testimony that he had changed in terms of any of his ailments or illnesses, in terms of how he would react with women. So why was this book so important for you to write, the mental health issues in the 21st century church?
Well, it's amazing that my book and Elaine's book kind of correlate with one another, because my experience in the church was me having mental health struggles. And when it occurred to me that I was struggling with some mental issues, and once I went to counseling and kind of got, I won't say cured, but when I was able to address them and confront them and get better, it occurred to me that maybe other people in the church were struggling as well, and maybe I could help them, which is why I became a counselor. Because what happens, Kareem, as Miss Richardson has said, people who come into the church and they profess, that they're saved, a lot of times they come with baggage. And some of that baggage is mental health issues. But what they do, and I think there's enough blame to go around, because what the church teaches is just come in and go up to the altar, get prayed for, and once you're saved, that's it. You're fine. Everything has been resolved. That is not true. Some things are a process and take longer, especially mental health issues. And a lot of people are taught to wear a facade and wear a mask. And sometimes they are just taught to be imposters and being deceptive, really.
So I want we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to unpack what you just said. Sometimes issues are overlooked. Sometimes issues are unaddressed or undiagnosed. But then there's sometimes that we are, we run this imposter games. We are all James Bond when it comes to how we live. And I want to talk, Miss Cook, they always say that hindsight is 20/20. When we come back, I want to begin to talk about red flags and to see if they're, in hindsight, are there any red flags maybe that you have seen that maybe you would like to cue women on things that maybe they need to take a little bit of time and think about in relationships. We're going to talk about red flags when we come back from this commercial break. Please stay tuned for more of Straight Talk when we come back with these two amazing women, how mental health issues impact dating and marriage in the 21st century church.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Oh, hey, welcome to T-Mobile.
Hey, I didn't know you guys were here.
Well, we cover 99% of people in America, so we're kind of everywhere.
I thought you were just in big cities.
Well, T-Mobile has invested billions to bring our award-winning network from big cities to towns like ours. And right now, when you switch, you can get 20% off for life with our hometown discount.
20% off for life?
Yep, 20% off unlimited talk, text, and data on T-Mobile's network for life.
All right, sign me up. Oh, one more thing. You like fishing?
That depends. You talking fly fishing, bait casting, spinning, or trolling?
Well, this is off to a beautiful start.
T-Mobile's here in your neighborhood, and we've got you covered. Right now, you can get 20% off for life on qualifying new lines with our hometown discount. Head to your local T-Mobile store and switch today.
20% off for the life of your plan via monthly bill credits on qualifying new lines activated at participating stores for a limited time. Credits stop if you cancel lines or change plans. Heavy data users may notice lower speeds during congestion due to data prioritization. Video typically in SD. See T-Mobile.com/hometown discount.
The Saginaw Children's Zoo is open for the season. Visit your animal friends and take a spin on the carousel or a thrilling ride on the ADA accessible train. The Saginaw Children's Zoo can't wait to see you. Visit our website for details and to purchase a reserved ticket at saginawzoo.com. See you at the zoo.
Stacking up children too.
How do you do?
This month, when you play the Daily 3 or the Daily 4, you could be in for a big surprise. How? With that Daily Games bonus draw. Play your usual daily numbers, midday and evening. Then get ready, because any draw could be a bonus draw. And your prize could jump 20%. That means a $500 win becomes $600. Daily 3 and 4 bonus draws are for a limited time this month only from the Michigan Lottery. Daily 4 straight and wheeled bets are excluded. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with more of our conversation, how mental illness will impact marriage, dating, and really impact your life. I want to go to chapter 2, Elaine, of your book. The chapter 2 of your book, Before the Sunrise. And I want to read a short excerpt, and I just want you to kind of take it from there. The title of this is very catchy. My Scars Are My Testimony. And it says, and you've changed the names, I guess just for the sake of it, but when it's real and it's the truth, you know, you can tell the truth. Wilton had, My Scars Are My Testimony. Wilton had for 4 years, had 4 years to find out my likes and dislikes. He appeared to be a Christian only to attain my material possessions. I refused to entertain anyone who wears a mask, even my future husband. Be who you are. Be who you say you are. I cannot imagine how anyone can manipulate and try to destroy a person's life. One of my biggest pet peeves is people who play with God. Once I realize your hypocrisy and your sincerity about your relationship with him is false, I don't allow you into my personal space. If you lie about your Christianity, then I know that you lie about everything. All right, so share with us, when you were writing this particular book, My Scars Are My Testimony, this portion of your book plays a key role into the psyche of how some men will study you and find out what are your strengths and your weaknesses. Could you please share us what this particular chapter 2, My Scars Are My Testimony, means and what's about?
Yes. At this time, I believe it was approximately maybe 5 or 6 years prior to this, I had a horrific, horrible surgery, which almost left me dead. Basically, they were saying that I wasn't going to make it. If I made it, they were going to cut my legs off. And I had scars on my legs, and very ugly scars, you know. And when I said my scars are my testimony, you don't know what all I've been through in life, even though I explained to you what has happened to me in life, but you don't know what all I've been through in life that has helped to toughen me, to make me strong, to whatever adversity I go through, I'm going to pull through it because of the scars that I've had in my life. And for him to come along, to play the church role, to know everything about me, as a matter of fact, he was the one that said, your scars are your testimony, Elaine. Don't be embarrassed of your scars. But later on, after we got married and all these different personalities came out, that's the first thing he threw up in my face was my scars. But I said, you're looking at the physical scars, but you don't know what other kind of scarring I have had in my life to help toughen me, to make me strong, to make me the woman that I am today. And so we just had so many issues going on and didn't even realize, I don't know if he realized it or not, but his scarring was, you know, I could cover my scars up with clothing. He can't cover up the scarring that he had with mental health because it eventually showed.
That is a powerful segue into the question that I want to ask you, Ms. Graham. In your book, Mental Health Issues, there's a section in here you talk about the imposter syndrome. And you said the imposter syndrome, also called perceived fraudulence, involves feeling of self-doubt and personal incompetence that persists despite your education, experiences, accomplishments. It is feared in the American it is featured in the Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and it is not a recognized mental disorder. Please share a little bit, because to me it seems as though people can come into certain spaces and be whoever they are, and without any proper checking, without any proper notice, or even that individual having been tested or treated before, they can kind of create these scenarios, become whoever they want in life, the imposter syndrome. Please explain.
Okay. I think the closest to that description of being an imposter is narcissism. And as I read Miss Richardson's book, and I was reading about her ex-husband, that fits him more than anything else. And I think the imposter syndrome is a little bit different than what it implies.
Okay.
The imposter syndrome is really, just to clarify, it's really when someone, despite how well they perform, they still have the belief that they still do not measure up. That's what the imposter syndrome is.
So it's an internal conflict within an individual.
Right.
They're
And
not
they
measuring
feel
up.
Right. And they feel like they're an imposter because here there are people think they're great, and really in their mind, their own perception of themselves is that they're not. So I think narcissism is more closely to what when people try to be deceptive or take advantage of someone's vulnerability, that's mostly narcissism. And the other thing that I see, Miss Richardson, when I read your book, because I read it also, I see that you were being controlled and you were being attacked because you were vulnerable in a certain area of your life, and this individual knew it, and they keyed in on it. And it took time because they had a plan for you, and you didn't know it, but they had a plan for you from the beginning, seems like.
Oh, yeah.
And it was premeditated, and it caught you off guard.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
I want to ask this question. Okay, so when we say this and we're talking about narcissism disorder, so in a situation where a woman is kind of loving the Lord, praising the Lord, or even about her business on her job, she's, PhD, she's got her master's degree, she got her own car, always, she's INDEP, she's independent, right?
Yeah.
And so you're saying that there are some men who sit back, they pray almost like a lion, waiting for an opportunity to pounce, and that is a part of a narcissistic disorder. Please explain what you're saying, Miss Graham.
Absolutely. And that actually what they do is they groom you. They teach you how to love them, and they really are not showing their true colors. But, their whole goal is to get control of you, total control. And they do this by really bullying you, kind of overpowering you, not necessarily physically, but mentally, by picking out your weak points or the points that they know that you are, kind of, disturbed about or concerns you, like physical impairment. It could be anything, but once they find out what your Achilles heel is, they zone in on that and they hold that over your head.
Is there a term, excuse me, is there a term called love bombing as it relates to mental illness? Where a person is...
I've heard of that, but that's not really a technical term, so I'm not really that familiar with that, love bombing.
Okay, where they...
Heard of it.
Okay, and so what I've heard, and you can kind of help me place this, because I want to take this back to a question for Ms. Cook. And I think the terminology, and I may be phrasing it wrong, but it talks about where a person is overly affectionate. They every want, every desire, every need, everything that you desire, they provide. Is that a part of the narcissistic complex where they give?
Absolutely, you hit it on the head. Because what they do is they endear you to them by just going overboard. Miss Richardson said it in her book. The flowers, the baby this, baby that, rubbing your foot, taking care of all your needs, whatever you need. If they hear you say you need something, they go and get it, before you ask for it. So they endear you to them, and actually they make you sort of fall in love with them because they're showing you all of these great points about themselves, which is just a facade, and it's not true. And sooner or later, they'll get tired because it's a game.
Amen.
Wow. Go ahead, Elaine. So I want you to kind of share your personal thoughts.
Well, I agree with her, but the problem with, I don't care, Willie, the problem, oh well, sue me. But the problem that with Willie and I was he wanted to control me, but I was too strong-willed for him to control me, and that would make him angry that I wouldn't allow him to control me. When I finally got hip to what was going on with him, no, he couldn't control me. He did manipulate in several ways, but as far as totally control, well, probably to him he was controlling me, but I would always tell him when I seen something wasn't right. I'm this type of person, I'm just gonna tell you, oh no, that ain't right, what's going on here. And now one thing I will say, he believed in isolation, which I didn't know at the time, but my plan was to move out to Arizona, and I did exactly what he was glad that I did, was to get me away from my family because of the isolation. He believed in isolating people, his women, and I didn't know that at the time. So when I said I wanted to move out to Arizona, oh, that was he was gung-ho for that.
You know, I want to say this. One of our callers out there posted, this is why we need the gift of discernment. And I think you're going to have a lot to say about this, Miss Graham. You know, oftentimes in church situations, we always tell people they need to fast more, they need to pray more, they need to do this. And Elaine, in your particular situation,
I did everything the right way. I did everything the right way. So for someone to say we need more of a discernment, when you're dealing with a person that has multi-personalities, know when to bring what personality out at what time. Okay. But I was a prayed up sister.
And you say you was a prayed up sister. So there are times, and I think that this is one of the reasons why, Joyce, you brought your book to the forefront. And I want you to share, are there some things that women or even men need to take into consideration when they're looking or not looking for a mate, but they are available to date? Because what we're seeing here is that, you know, I always say that there's some things, some sins you pray out, some you have to kick out, and there's some you have to counsel out. So I want you to know, are there some signs or some things that women in particular need to be aware of as they are in this process or this thing called dating or courting or whatever they call it, that may go unnoticed?
Okay, the number one thing is that always remember, ladies, those of you who are believers, and men, those of you who are believers, is that just because you both are saved and believers does not mean that you are compatible. You both may be saved and on your way to heaven, but that does not mean that you are a good match for each other.
Good.
When you see the red flags that indicate that something is not really connecting and not clicking, investigate that thing and believe what you see. Because a lot of times, in most cases, almost 99% of the time, you see something. And when the light finally comes on, you may say, well, yeah, I saw that, but I didn't know what I was looking at. And Elaine, in your case, if you don't mind me saying, when he got you to move way to Arizona, he was trying to get you away from the people who he was afraid would really tell you about him. Because in your book, you said that there were people, friends and relatives, who would kind of hint and let you know, now, Elaine, he is something. He's crooked or this, that, and the other.
That's true.
And he wanted to isolate you. You're right. He wanted to get you way away from those people who would, reveal who he really was to you. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I had already planned to move to Arizona before we ever started dating. But what I was saying was, when I approached him and said, how would you like moving to Arizona? That was right up his alley because he believed in isolation.
So it was your suggestion?
My suggestion. Yeah, I was going to move to Arizona.
Isolation. I believe if it wasn't Arizona, it would have been somewhere else. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
If it wasn't Arizona, it would have been somewhere else.
So, Miss,
because he jumped right on that Arizona, right? He jumped right on that.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't Arizona, sweetheart, it would have been somewhere else. Believe me and trust me. He was going to isolate you one way or the other.
Ms. Graham, so when we talk, so I guess one of the things that we need to address, Ms. Cook, you announced it by saying, hey, when you made the decision to go to Arizona, this was right up his alley. He jumped on that opportunity. Ms. Graham, you are also talking about how when someone is coming in with ill intentions, a part of what they're doing, isolation becomes a tool for what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Please explain to us, and isolation may not necessarily just be moving, but it may also be like, why are you with your friends? So explain to us the role that isolation can play in this crazy game of mental health with individuals who mean to do you in. Why is isolation so important?
Yes, because they have to get you away from every other influence in your life, even if it's not moving to another state. It's forbidding you to hang out with your boys or with your girlfriends. It's preventing you from going to the mall by yourself because they're afraid you're going to meet up with somebody. Isolation simply means that they isolate you so that your attention is given to no one but them. And then that way, if they're the only ones influencing you, guess what? Then they're the ones in control. Mm-hmm. It goes back to control. It goes right back to it.
Now, Ms. Cook, you allude to in your book what Ms. Graham just talked about. There is all throughout this book this feeling of he was a very secure person in the beginning, but as you began to understand how he was operating, that security was really a blanket to cover the insecurity, which he then placed on you. So cheating and please share how that became a part of a control tactic because of his insecurities, and how can women really begin to pick up some of those warning signs that may exist for men who are really insecure but play the secure card in the dating process?
Well, first of all, there's nobody that's 100% perfect. And when you find a man or a woman that seem like they mark off every little dot and everything they did was exactly the way you would want it done, that's a red flag right there. Because nobody is perfect. We're all imperfect. And you're not going to find, I don't believe you're going to find a person that just going to do everything totally right. To me, in my opinion, Ms. Graham, you can correct me, but that's a sign of mental illness right there, because you're not going to be perfect. And
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, Elaine, and I'll comment after you're done.
And
I'll let you finish.
Okay, I think, well, I know for a fact with me, I just said, man, he just, everything that I wanted. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying a man is everything you wanted, but when you find a man that seemed like everything, I mean, including he knows how much I love children, so he came right in and he was the perfect, for my grandchildren. Take my grandchildren to McDonald's, and buying sweets and everything that I would normally do for my grandchildren. He loved children, and come to find out, this man didn't really want to be around no kids. It was all a game. I mean, loving my children, telling my daughters, I'm going to be the man that, to show you. I mean, every wording come out of his mouth was just, 100%. So sometimes now I know I want to see some 50%. I want to see some 20%. Don't come with me with, you 100 all the way. No, buddy, something wrong with you. And I'm not to say every man is like that, but it allowed me to look at a person and say, well, I've been, and I wasn't what you call a street person. I mean, I didn't really party or go out like that. I'm a church girl all my life. Even then when I wasn't in the church, I was at the church. So I was green. To be honest, I was green. And this man knew I was green. So, and I'm not telling y'all to go start partying so y'all don't be green, but I'm just saying there are signs, ladies. We have to wake up. A woman is not going to be 100%. Yes, God will send you your heart desire, but I tell you, and I don't even remember if I put this in the book. One day I was up praising God. And, I was just praising God to myself. And I never really looked over at Willie because I was never interested in him. And then all of a sudden, a feeling came to me and said, "That's going to be your husband." And I said, "What's going to be my husband?" And I happened to turn and look, and it was Willie. And he said, "That's your husband." And I said, "Devil, you a lie. That ain't none of my husband." Well, the Lord would let me know right then and there, he was trying to speak to me. And instead of me, I'm rebuking the devil, but yet and still, what did I do? I forgot about what had happened at church. I totally forgot about that incident. So there are things that will come up to us and we fail to recognize it. We want to ignore it because I'm looking at all the good things, the good qualities of this man. This good thinking, So yeah, it have to be good.
So what are we going to, because I want to come back to you, Elaine, and I want to.
Yeah, can I respond to
Absolutely.
that? Because I read her book and it was a good read. And Elaine, I just want to tell you personally, now I don't condone fighting, but I was so glad when I read that you whooped him good.
I was raised with 5 brothers and I raised 4 sons.
Right. You beat him down. You gave him a good beat down. And I'm not saying we should be fighting, but
no,
I was just that part just really.
That's the other side of Elaine. No, who is that?
I did want to say this. I did want to say this really quickly, and I know where she's coming from about the red flags. But baby, when I read your book, I saw red flags, and that's probably because I could be more objective because I wasn't directly involved in the relationship. But let me tell you what I saw. Can I do that real quickly?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
What I saw was, is it okay for me to do it?
Miss Cook. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. What I picked up was, and no one can, is really totally 100%, and you can always detect the red flags. But this is what I saw. And I just read your book one time. But when I saw him put his name, I believe his name was the only one on the house. You correct me if I'm wrong, because I just read the book one time.
Mm-hmm.
And the night that you guys got married, I believe it was on honeymoon or anniversary, he got drunk that night.
Yeah.
Am I correct so far? Okay, so that's 2 things.
Right.
He got drunk. He drank and he got sloppy drunk.
No, he didn't get drunk. I thought he should have been drunk, but he wasn't drunk. That just let me know he could hold his liquor. Yeah.
Right, but he drank and he tried to get you to drink too, right?
Correct.
Now you correct me if I'm wrong, so that's fine. But then the other thing is the financial part of the deal. You put up more money than he did.
Yeah.
Right? He had filed bankruptcy too. See, I read the book. I read your book. Believe me, I read your book. I just really got into it. I got into that book. But those all were red flags. Those were the red flags. The financial
I was already married.
I'm sorry?
Married.
At that point, she's saying that she was already married. So in a marriage situation, this was something, you love someone, you shower them, yours becomes theirs. So, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit, Elaine, because in the ending of how you came out of that story, I think is very important. But I want you to go ahead with your assessment, Ms. Graham.
Go ahead.
Okay. And then and I'm just saying that, I guess this is a good place to really talk about another thing that I believe strongly in, and that's premarital counseling. some of that stuff would have come out. I don't know if you all had premarital counseling or not. Did you?
No, did
You
we?
did?
Did
Okay.
William? No, because I'm
Yeah,
looking at
you
it like this. We're both seniors, and
Uh-huh.
I just didn't think we needed it because here I am. And I guess my thing was I always went on the biblical principles. You know what I mean? So I felt like if you're living a Christian life, I'm living a Christian life. We've traveled together. We never slept together. He never even approached me like that. I just assumed
Okay, gotcha.
that, hey, it would be okay. It would be fine, perfectly fine.
Gotcha.
And,
Okay, I got
being
you.
raised in a family where my parents were married 60 years, and what's daddy's
Uh-huh.
is mother's, and what's mother's and daddy. And that's the principle I took into my marriage.
And if I could really quick, I think this is, ladies, this is a really key piece for those women who are listening to this conversation. You said it well, Ms. Richardson, and I thank you for your vulnerability and being honest with this, because I think that will help a lot of women. When your heart is in the right place, when you're trusting God, when you're serving God, when you're sowing into ministry, when you have seen so many other women go through and you have been the shoulder that they have cried on, you just have an expectation that as it relates to your dating, that, hey, God's not going to send you some crazy man or allow some man into your life to be able to do these things. But the fact of the matter is that when people come in playing a game, taking a chapter from your book, playing the game of charades, and it is possible for them to enter into the camp. One thing that we need to understand is that there is a thin line between those who have God complexes and those who are crazy. And I think that's one of the things that you talk about in your book, Ms. Graham. So how do we get women to understand or to be more aware? They've been in love. It's been a number of years since she was dating or even interested in one. Mm-hmm. How do we get to the basis that we don't overlook things that can be very basic, but have a greater implication in the end?
Okay, this is what we need to do, all of us. We need to, and I can't say it enough, no matter what the situation is, no matter how in love we are, no matter what the level of commitment we think that person has toward God, no matter any of that, young women, I want to speak to you, young men. Premarital counseling, those are the two words that I have for you. Premarital counseling, a lot will come out. And I mean, a lot will come out if the person who is doing it, conducting the premarital counseling, does it right and looks over all of the grinning and laughing and eyeing each other and ask the right questions, about your financial situation, about your, what do you do when you get upset, when you do get angry? Do you just walk away, or are you the kind of person who wants to fight? I know you say you say, but do you drink a little wine on the side sometimes? Ask the questions, do you, or if you have a mental health issue, or you under counseling, or you getting counseling, ask all the right questions. Are you healthy? Have you been diagnosed with anything? Premarital counseling, ladies, those of you who are contemplating marriage, I don't care how old you are or anything like that. And I'm speaking out of love. I'm not trying to condemn anybody at all. But I am, I've seen in my practice, I've observed it in the church. I've been in church over almost 50 years. And I've been married before as well. I've been married too. And I've had some things that happened in my marriage. And I'm telling you, a lot of things will come out because people, even saved folks, wear a facade. We've been taught to do that. You've been taught to put your best foot forward when you're dating. Just show them the good things. Don't even let them see you sweat, but just always portray this person who is committed to God and, and just all, holy. Don't let them see anything, hide everything else. And that is not fair.
No,
And it's
because
not
I was myself. I was
what
real.
God would have. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go all into your past. Tell how many people you slept with. I'm not saying any of that.
That's not wise either.
I want to know.
I am just saying we should be honest, but we are not sometimes. We aren't. Everybody's trying to impress each other. You're trying to impress one another. Let the person that you're in love with, let them, take them around your family. Go around their family. See how their interaction is. See how they interact with one another. And listen to that young man's mother. Listen to that young lady's mother. If she is really, really a good mother, she is going to tell you about her son and her daughter. I've had mothers tell me, honey, you don't want him. And that's their son.
Miss Graham.
Baby, you don't want him.
Miss Graham, I think that's good, but I also want to address
some mothers take up for their sons.
That as well. And that's kind of where I'm going. Is there a time when mental illness is a part of the family legacy, where maybe and so the things that a mom who is mentally whole or mentally well would say, hey, he's got an issue with this. If my family has been traumatized and mom has experienced mental illness or dad has experienced mental illness, those things that normally a mom might cue a person into, if they're honest, go undiagnosed or unspoken because the family has an issue with mental illness. And so it's hard to determine what's good behavior and what's not mentally well. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes, that's possible. And two answers to that question, really, or two responses to that statement. Number one, just because mental health issues run in your family does not mean that your children or your descendants are going to be mentally ill. Or it just means that they would be more susceptible to a mental disorder, but it does not mean that they will. The other part of that is, and we've seen it in the news, a lot of parents hide their children's mental illness from people. And that person ends up going shooting up everybody or killing everybody. So those are the two sides to that.
All right. So I just want to Wording Battalion. I thank you for your comment. She says, while she totally believes in premarital counseling, I have found that a true narcissist has mastered the art of manipulation and can completely deceive even the most cautious, discerning individual, including counselors. That's exactly what I was talking about there. And we know that God will cover and God will protect, but narcissism. And if we could, Ms. Graham, I want you to share a little bit, really keying in on narcissistic behavior, because I think that is something that we encounter more often than we believe we do. But what does that disorder look like? What does it look like in the beginning? How does it change? And what is the detriment to dealing with folks who suffer from narcissism?
Well, it's kind of hard to detect at the beginning of a relationship, because what they tend to do is, like I said, they endear you to them. And so they want to do everything to please you. But really, the reality of it is that their whole goal is to please themselves. And they have to be the center of attention all the time. And when you see that red flag, you know you're dealing with a narcissist. And they will do anything to hurt you to get what they want. They don't care. They have no remorse. They don't care. They will hurt you to get what they want. They are always number one. They're selfish. You always have to admire them and give them praise. It's like they have to always, every day, 24/7, be on the stage performing. You have to applaud that performance no matter what.
Wow.
So, and then let me say this too. A narcissist may be able, and I appreciate the comments, whoever, made the comment in the audience, a narcissist may be able to hide their behavior, but they cannot hide a financial record. A record is a record. A financial record is a record. A health record is a record unless they falsify it.
All right, awesome. That's great. Now, Miss Cook, I want to ask you this question because our show time is winding down. Before the Sunrise, a true story of the life of Elaine Richardson Cook, mother of retired NBA player Jason Richardson. When I look at this book, and I've read the book several times, how did you bring yourself to break the silence? One of the things I think often that happens with women who have been through these situations is that they want to hide the fact that they got duped, or that you got me. What did it take for you to break the silence and share this book? And how did you get the strength to share this, understanding the platform and understanding who your son was, understanding that you are not what most people would consider the usual suspect? You're an educated woman. You are an empowered woman. You have resources, those kinds of things. How did you bring yourself to write this book and be this transparent?
Because I just believe that with my son, who my son is, being a public figure myself somewhat, people would listen. And I wanted the truth to get out. I wanted to be as honest and as close to my life as possible. And I figured this is really, I'm just going to break it on down. Growing up, my parents were pastors. And I was the type of child, I could hear stuff and I would never tell it. I would never repeat it. Like they tell you, go in the back room, because you see pastors' wives coming in talking to my parents. But to be honest, I've seen so many women with big hats at church. You think they had the best marriage, and they wives were going crazy. I mean, literally having mental health issues because they're covering up for some of the things that the husbands had done, some of the pastors had done. And I said, you know what? We wear these big hats. I like big hats too. Now, don't get me wrong. We wear these big hats. Not only is there wisdom up under those big hats, but there's a lot of stories up under those big hats. And I didn't want to be another statistic weighing all this stuff down in my mind, in my heart, because I feel like when you keep stuff in you, it can bring on health issues. It can start making you look old. And I'm not trying to look old for nobody. Okay. I'm be honest. And I just decided that if I would just get out there and just tell women to speak up. We have so many women that need to speak up to help the next generation or help that sister. That's my thing. If I can help, if I say one sister, I've done my job. And that's all. That's one reason why I wanted to be 100% honest with my book, was because I want someone else. There's a lot of stories out there, but so many women are so busy hiding. We've had women, rape victims, who are hiding, abuse, physically, mentally. Come on. We have to be, as they say, our sister's keeper. I wanted to set that platform to let women know, I don't care what your social economic status is, because I've done it all, been there, done that, word the finest. It doesn't matter. When abuse knock on your door, it's real. And I want women to know, I didn't know anything about abuse. I had never seen abuse. But now that I've had a taste of it, and this is the thing, I've always counseled women. And I would tell them, do this, do that. But I've never experienced it. But now that I have been in that situation where I have experienced it, I can really counsel a young woman. I can really talk to a young woman. And I'm not saying every situation is pick up your bags and run. No, but for me, because this man I'm going to be honest with you, I felt like he would have killed me if I had stayed in my relationship covering up, because I didn't want other people to know, oh, she married this man and blown. Within a year, she's done. I didn't care. It was about me living and me being able to share my life, my true life story with another sister that I could help out. It was all about my sisters.
Powerful. One of your comments out there, Elaine, applaud your courage. It will save so many others. Your next book title, Under the Hats. What a powerful word. Thank you. They've asked the question, where can they find these books?
Amazon.com under author Elaine Cook.
All right. And Miss Graham, you are here. You are on a book tour. Check out Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I've posted dates and interviews that are coming up. Where can people find one of your 6 books that you've written? Where should they look?
The same place, Amazon.com.
All right. So we have Mental Health Issues in the 21st Century Church. That is by award-winning author Joyce Graham. And then also Here Before the Sunrise, Elaine Richardson Cook, mother of former NBA champ Jason Richardson. I want to thank all of you. We're going to do a little after show, so we're going to continue with some questions after this. But for those that are listening on the radio, thank you for tuning in once again to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. We pray that you're safe, that you're well. Watch out for yourselves and those around you. Love you. God bless you. Grace and peace.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen by the host, its guest, or call-ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, Alpha Media USA, or its advertisers.
KISS 107.1 is WTLZ Saginaw with Steve Harvey in the morning and simply the best R&B all day. Take us everywhere. Your smartphone, in your car, to work.
I can't hear you.
Okay, ladies, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so no, that was me.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, Mrs. Graham, I truly enjoyed her. Thank you. She brought a lot of insight to
Oh,
me.
I enjoyed you too. And I think you were so brave too and so transparent in your book. I know you couldn't share everything, but there are some good nuggets in that book.
And I think what's so important is to have both of you. And Elaine, I think it's important that people understand that you as a profession or a counselor, right? You help people to navigate these things.
Yes.
Understand what you know now, seeing what you know now, that impact might share or challenge another young woman that may be going through something that you find similar.
You went out. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, understanding what you know now and you have experienced, is there anything that you would do differently in terms of how you share or encourage or counsel a young woman that may be going down a similar path? Is there anything that you have learned that you might do differently?
Oh, yes, the whole shebang. But number one, I would tell a woman, now I still believe in prayer. But I would also tell the woman, just, you can talk to God, whoever your God is, talk to your God and ask God to help you to understand this person. Now, don't turn a blind eye. Don't look the wrong way. Look the right way, and if you see something that's not right, research. But, I won't even say that I even went to the police station to check out his name to see if he had any kind of record. And that's something very important too. He didn't have a police record because none of the women ever turned him in. I was the first one to call the police on him. So, I mean, maybe that might not work, but either you still do it. And I would still let a woman know, there is love out there. Not every man is bad, but just check him out a little more. Talk to his family. Well, this man's family covered for him. So I don't know. I guess you got to get with some friends and, there would be a lot of different things that I would talk to women to, just really have a better insight on, make sure it's not an infatuation thing. Make sure that this person is 100%. And just like Mrs. Graham said, she's seen some red flags. I seen them too, but it was too late. Finances. But, I think I was going off of the fact that in today's society, women make more money than men. So that wasn't no problem. But, bring something, to have something to come to the table with, be able to take me to Hawaii and you pay for the trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't get with somebody who you see them walking down the street kicking a can. You ask them what they doing, they say moving. You know, you got to have something that you're bringing to the table.
To the table, you got to have something to come to the table with.
Ms. Graham, I would like to give you the last final thoughts, and also if there's anyone in the social media stream that has any questions, this would be your opportunity to do so. But Ms. Graham, in just closing of this conversation, is there anything that you think would be apropos to this conversation that we've had so far?
I would just say, and I just agree with what Elaine said, and I would just add to what she's already said, is don't assume anything. Don't make any assumptions at any stage of the game, dating or marriage. Don't make any assumption. And that is not to say be suspicious or paranoid, but don't make any assumptions just because you have God in your life that things can happen and things can go the other way. Don't make that assumption. Always, use wisdom. And like she said, pray. And the other thing is to always talk. I think she's right. So many times women won't say anything. Men won't say anything until it's real late in the game. Talk to someone you trust, even if it's not a professional. Talk to someone. Find somebody. If you start seeing red flags, having problems, find someone to talk to. Say something.
All right. So if you see something, say something. It's something very elementary that we tell our children. Never assume. But if you see something, Dr. Graham, thank you very much to Latoya McPherson for your comments. Where can people, and I know, Ms. Graham, you have a number of things coming up. Where can people see you? Where you're going to be? How can they tune in or catch you on your next cycle of interviews or appearances?
Okay. I am doing something called a virtual book tour because I'm not real mobile right now. So I am going to be touring virtually. And I have it on my Facebook page for those of you who are on Facebook. It's on there. I have to learn how to put it on Instagram. I'm not really familiar with Instagram, but it is on Facebook. And I think Kareem has it on his page. So if you know where he is on Facebook, you can see that flyer. It shows all the dates for this particular month. And I intend to do that until nobody else asks me for an interview, which I hope doesn't happen for a long time.
Well, we certainly thank you. And I want to share with our listeners that are out there, and Ms. Graham, if I can, and I think I am really amazed. Both of you women have amazing testimonies, personal stories that you share in your books. I think that really speak to the level of transparency. And Ms. Graham, one of the things that I think is so powerful for in terms of overcoming life's obstacles is the fact, and many people don't recognize this. One of the reasons why you aren't on camera is because you suffered a stroke, and you did not allow that stroke to stop you from doing what you were called to do and purpose to do. And absolutely gorgeous woman. When I look at these pictures and images, you are an absolutely gorgeous woman. And we know that beauty is something that is very important to women. So you're getting yourself together as you prepare, and God's going to fully restore your full mobility and everything that's necessary.
Yes,
but please share the importance of overcoming life's obstacles.
Wow.
Okay, I sure will. Thank you. We have to realize, and sometimes it's a hard lesson, but just because, life happens to all of us. I think we all learned that during COVID, and I had COVID as well. But one of the things that I am dealing with now are the residuals. And a lot of times the residuals are actually worse than the illness or whatever happens to you. And you have to deal with those. But with the help of God, you can get through anything. I believe as long as God gives you breath, you're still in the game. So I have some mobility issues, but the Lord blessed me and gave me strength to where it even amazed me. I typed my book with one hand because I'm paralyzed on the other side. So God did that for me, and it's nothing short of a miracle. God is still working miracles.
Wow.
That is absolutely amazing. So you are taking away all of the excuses from these women. I'm going to ask you the last question. What is next for Elaine Richardson Cook? What should we be looking for?
I'm working on my next book. That's about it. But I do want to say one thing to our sisters, our queens out there. Protect your heart. That's what you have to do, is protect your heart. You can't give your whole heart to man. That heart belongs to God, then man. So protect your heart.
That is so awesome. And we're going to conclude on those words. Thank you, women. Beautiful women, beautiful conversation. So poignant and important to those who are out there today. For those of you who are on social media stream, thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for being a part. Come back next week. We have an amazing story of a young man surviving the storm, finding life after death. Mr. Michael Frazier, going to be an amazing show on next week. Tune in with more Straight Talk. We love you.